How you doing, people? This is the Rubin Report. I'm the guy who invented the new Sith lightsaber in the Force Awakens trailer, Dave Rubin, and I've got Nerd Alert's Kim Horcher and BuzzFeed's Louis Peitzman with me. Yes, I did invent that lightsaber. I know you want people to believe you did, but I actually did. And we've got a lot to get to, so let's get right to it. I'm starting to think, call me crazy, I'm starting to think that the Republicans don't like President Obama, and that President Obama doesn't like the Republicans. I have a feeling on this one. John Boehner, he was given a little speech about immigration to some Republicans the other day, and he had this to say about the president.
The president, on the other hand, has ignored the will of the American people, and he's refused to listen. He himself, or his decision to take unilateral action on immigration, action he himself said exceeded his authority, and makes it harder for the American people and their elected representatives to trust his word on any issue.
Okay, so I don't want to make this about the immigration thing. We've talked a lot about that, and we'll do plenty more segments about that. But I want to talk about the trust issue, because what I was thinking when I saw that was, well, I don't trust you, and I don't trust the president. Really don't trust any of them, and that's how I wanted to start this thing. Do you guys trust any of these people? Do you trust Boehner any less or more than you trust Obama, or vice versa, or any which way you can say that?
It's just rhetoric, really. I mean, it's just, oh, you don't trust him, he's not trustworthy. And if you say that, it's sort of deflection and branding. It's sort of ridiculous how marketed this is.
Yeah. Do you trust these people? Do you trust politicians?
No, but the only people I trust less than politicians are the American people. So when it comes to Obama doing something that kind of bypasses maybe the dumbest voters, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah,
I don't really trust anyone.
Yeah,
I watched a lot of X-Files growing up, so I learned my lesson.
So most of your political beliefs are based in the X-Files?
Oh, absolutely.
That what? That something's out there.
Something's out there, trust no one.
Yeah.
Something about little green men.
So when I was watching this clip, and there's a lot more where he goes into the immigration stuff in executive action, and yes, many times Obama said that he doesn't have the power to do it, and now, of course, he's going ahead and doing it. So what does that say just about our system, that everyone lies? Like, we got an election coming, and 2015 is going to be a big year for the 2016 election. My suspicion is that we're just going to hear lies for a year. It's going to be the year of the lie.
You act like you've never heard of this before.
It seems worse to me now. Is it maybe because I'm more of an adult or something? I don't know. It just seems like now we've gotten to a point, and I think this is partly an Obama thing, where I wanted to believe in him so much, and now I've just seen that everyone, including this guy, they just lie. So we're just going to hear a lot of it next year.
Maybe that is that disillusionment. I mean, I think people had a lot of probably way too much faith in Obama, as he's proven, but that doesn't mean he's the one bad guy. It's a pool of bad guys or
I have no
bad
love.
guys.
Yeah, I have no love for John Boehner. Is politics just a big soap opera? That's what I really think. Like, they don't really talk about stuff, really. They don't really go into the room and work out the stuff anymore, right? They just sort of...
and it's actually a lot easier for me to understand as a TV viewer, so I appreciate that.
Okay, so let's put it in your spot then.
No, I'm great. This is great. Like, we can just keep talking about lies and deception and not actually the issues, and I'm totally fine with that.
But isn't that what they want in a weird way? Like, in the old days, they used to talk about how Bill Clinton used to actually go into a room with Newt Gingrich and really work out policy. And I feel like these days that's just not something that they... Can you picture Obama and Boehner in a room really... I feel like they don't even do that.
Because they act like children around each other. Like, ooh, I don't want to work with him. He's mean. I don't like... And it's sort of... Yeah, you're right. It has gotten maybe more of like a rivalry, more partisan than it should be.
Yeah.
We're in season, what season are we in?
I like this. I like
of the U.S. We've jumped the shark so many times. I guess I just don't worry about it anymore.
Yeah. Can you give me a show that we can really relate this to, that really jumped the shark? I guess we could use Happy Days. After the shark jumping, literally, the show fell, and that's where we are.
Can you believe that Fonz is still president? I mean, he's 80 years old.
I would vote for Henry Winkler.
Well,
I've interviewed
Henry
him.
Winkler, sure, but the Fonz is, in real time probably should be dead by now.
Yeah, so final thought on this. Every time I see these types of things, it makes me think that maybe we need a little bit of what they have in Europe, which is where they have a president that's just like the figurehead and the prime minister that's actually doing the stuff. And I feel like maybe we need a little of that, because we want Obama to be like our rock star and the guy that plays basketball and he was cool with weed and blah, blah, blah. But then we also want him to be the president. Do you think maybe we need...
I thought we had that. I thought Oprah was our figurehead, and then everyone else is just kind of doing other stuff behind the scenes.
That's fair. What do you think?
I think it's possible for him to do both.
Yeah?
Being
isn't it
cool
too much?
Isn't hard.
But
if
isn't
you're
it
cool?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think he spends too much time trying to be cool and not enough time trying to
Again, it's branding.
It's all branding.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
So you don't think we should split the presidency into a prime ministership?
No. This is the second time I've been on this show, and you've asked that.
I really want to get that out of you, Kim.
I really want it.
I really, really want it.
I don't think I want it.
Anyway, I don't trust any of them. Porn produced in the UK is going to be censored. That's right. According to a 2003 amendment to the Communications Act, porn that is actually made in the UK is going to be censored. A lot of different acts that you probably like, you pervert. And we've got a list of them right here. Spanking, caning. What's caning, Kim?
I don't know.
All right, we'll get to that in a minute. Louis, do you caning? Do you like the caning?
It's hitting with a cane.
Hitting with a cane, that's right.
Is that different than aggressive whipping?
Aggressive whipping is with a whip.
If you whip someone with a cane, it'd be caning.
Yeah.
So I think,
Caning is with a cane, whipping is with a whip. There you go.
What if I hit you with a stick?
That's sticking. That's
okay.
aggressive sticking.
I get it now.
Okay, penetration by any object, quote, associated with violence. We'll get more to that one. I think that's kind of interesting. Physical or verbal abuse, regardless of if it's consensual. Urolagnia, which is more commonly known as water sports. Female ejaculation, strangulation, face sitting. I want to talk about that one too. And fisting. Okay, so just to be very clear here, they're banning this to be produced in the UK. So if you live in the UK, fear not, you can still get it from Germany and the US and Japan and wherever else you're getting your porn from. But I do think this is kind of interesting because we live in a world where there are no borders anymore, right? Everyone gets everything online anyway. So what is the UK government actually trying to accomplish here? Except they're just going to hurt their own economy, their own porn people?
Well, I feel like I want to hear someone say squirting with a British accent. So that's really just cutting into that for me.
Kim, can you do squirting with a...
Whoa.
You can't do that? No, not can you squirt right now. I mean, can you say squirting with a British accent?
Squirting.
Oh, that was pretty good.
All right, so we're fine. So we're good.
Yeah.
I was worried for a minute there, but I think we're okay.
But really, doesn't this seem odd that they would outlaw the act being done in their country, but they're not going to stop people from watching this stuff?
I don't
So what are they really trying to accomplish?
See, I thought maybe violence, but a lot of this is really arbitrary. I mean, face sitting, is that violent?
Well, they're arguing that you could actually do some serious damage that way. And I'm sure someone has died from face sitting.
You could crush someone.
And I'm sure someone has died from fisting, perhaps.
Yeah.
Really aggressive, just vaginal punching. I don't know.
But also things like, I mean, the verbal stuff. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, I guess you could die of humiliation.
Yeah, that's strange. It says regardless if it's consensual.
Right. Right. So if
Who
it's
are you protecting with this?
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on here. So the final three, those last three, can we throw the list up for just a second? I want to be very clear on this so we know what we're talking about. The last three, strangulation, so that's obviously choking someone, face-sitting, as Lewis points out, and fisting, all fall under the BBC FC view of potentially life endangering. So I think that's, there's something there.
I have a problem with the female ejaculation part. That seems especially wrong to me.
That seems, you're not into that.
It's not like you can, I mean, some people can control that, sure.
Yeah.
But if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
I don't want some porn star who happens to be a little bit more squirty to be banned from doing porn in the UK.
Right. So
it's not her fault.
So this is squirt discrimination, if
It
anything.
is. Guys squirt all the time, and there's no problem with that. I don't see that on this list.
That is a good point.
It feels very sexist to me.
Yeah. Why, really, though? When you think about the amount of porn that's out there that everyone knows about, and you can get any kind of porn that you want and all that, what do you think the UK is really trying to do? Like, what are they really saying to their people here? What is it that they're getting at here? Are they trying to be prude? Are they trying to be? Are they having their Christian conservative moment that we went through?
Stereotypical British gentleman going like, "Ooh, tut tut,"
So this has to do with their tea, and they're having tea
I mean,
and
it does
crumpets.
seem like these are unseemly things.
Yeah.
These are things that, I also have a problem with the object associated with violence, because if you don't want to use a gun on someone in a sexual way, that's fine. But you could hurt someone with a dildo. You know what I mean? I just feel like it spirals. It's dangerous to kind of start censoring these things because suddenly everything's a weapon.
That's right, people. You can hurt someone with a dildo. Let's move on. Netflix CEO Reed Hastings had some interesting things to say about the future of cable television. And believe it or not, yeah, he thinks that thing's dying pretty quickly. We've got the quote right here. So what Hastings is referring to here is that Nielsen is going to start measuring Netflix traffic next month. So he goes on to say it's not very relevant. There's so much viewing that happens on a mobile phone or an iPad that Nielsen won't capture. It's kind of like the horse. The horse was good until we had the car. The age of broadcast TV will probably last until 2030. Okay, I mean, this seems pretty obvious. We've talked a bunch about this, that people are cutting the cord left and right. So my first question to you guys is, have you guys cut the cord yet? You're a cord cutter.
Done.
You have no cable.
None.
You're doing this all online.
I'm doing great.
And you're doing great.
Yes.
And your bill is down.
I don't spend $100 a month on cable.
Yeah. Now, Louis, I know you're a big TV watcher and you're in the biz.
I spend far more than that on cable, and I'm not cutting the cord. It's different, though. I mean, I do have to watch everything. I have to be up on everything. I write about television, so I don't have the option yet of cutting the cord. At the same time, I think 2030 is like, I think we're actually going to see the end of broadcast well before that. I think it's coming faster than 2030.
Yeah, so to your point, I wanted to bring this up. So TV viewership dropped a full 50% between 2002 and 2012. And that's well before Netflix really, a lot of that, the first half of that at least, is really before Netflix really sort of picked up steam. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that this thing is going to happen way before then. I think it could happen maybe in 5 years or something. Do you miss anything? Do you feel like you've lost anything by not having access to the cable channels?
How much time I've spent just like skipping through channels looking for something to watch. And it's just, and then I'll find something and I'll be like, oh, that's fine. It's not like something I love.
Yeah.
And I think I have a lot more personal time now, and it's great.
Yeah. What about net neutrality? Because that, to me, is one of the biggest issues that we have going on today. You know, it's funny, Obama appointed a guy who was a telecom lobbyist to figure out the rules on net neutrality, and then, you know, what is it, 2 weeks ago, Obama said that he's for open and free internet, yet he appointed a guy to be in charge of it that's not, so another one of those things, as per our previous segment. But how does this make net neutrality that much more important? That if everyone's cutting the cord...
It's always been important, and we've always worried that, you know, once these telecom agencies, who also happen to be cable companies, are able to throttle Netflix even more, yeah, they're going to do it. So this is important. I mean, this is an outdated model, and we can even see that exemplified by Nielsen ratings failing to include online numbers. And it needs to change, or it needs to die. One of those things is happening.
Yeah. So for someone like you who watches all this stuff, that your business is in this, and forgetting people that's business in it, there's plenty of people that watch a ton of TV that don't want to cut the cord. When this thing changes, you think the a la carte way of getting all your channels, so you'll just stop watching certain things?
I mean, I hope, I think that it's already happened. I mean, if you look at now, we can watch stuff on TV, on Netflix, on Hulu, on iTunes and Yahoo. I mean, there's actually, at this point, too much, and I feel like it's become, there's too much TV to watch, I would say. Yeah. And I think we're gonna get to a point where people stop watching things just because there's so many options, start focusing more on a network they really like, or on a show they really like, and less on everything.
Right. Final thought on this. What are you guys watching these days?
I actually watch a lot of Netflix.
You watch a lot of Netflix? Like, give me like 2 shows that you're watching right now.
Well, I watched all of Orange is the New Black, like in one weekend, both seasons.
Yep.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm catching up on old shows that I either loved or I wanted to watch to begin with.
You're just watching Battlestar on loop, I know.
No, it's off Netflix now, Dave. It's been off since like November.
I'll do a little research into that. What are you watching these days? What do you recommend to our good people?
I just discovered The Cosby Show.
Oh no!
Guys, I just wanted to be a little controversial. No, I watch everything. I watch too much. Like I said, I watch everything, and then I wonder why I don't have a social life.
But Parks and Rec
you had to say Cosby.
Great.
Yeah.
You had to say Cosby.
I'm sorry, I wanted to open the door.
Well, that does bring me to one other thing that I think is kind of interesting, because one thing about, I do think there's something to be said for actual programming on these channels. Like there is something to be said for flicking without an appointment. You know what I mean? When you're just flicking on like a Sunday afternoon.
Is that the
word now? Flicking, yeah, you're going dirty. Kim, why are you going dirty?
We just talked about squirting, so we're kind of in that.
Yeah, no, but when you're really like a Sunday afternoon and you're just flipping through the channels.
Right.
Not flicking, you're flipping through the channels and you just catch something as opposed to having to go search for it. I think we might lose a little something when that's
You definitely do, and I think that there's a reason why I prefer Golden Girls Marathon to getting my DVDs out. There's an element of kind of just, I'm going to let this take over. But we'll get used to it. You know, if I had the choice to pick the episodes I wanted to watch of like an 8-hour-long marathon, I probably would.
Yeah.
Once I got used to that idea.
Once you got used to it. All right, well, we shall see, but the internet is here to stay, and hopefully net neutrality doesn't fuck the whole thing up, in case my feelings on that aren't clear enough. All right, let's talk about the South, because down south, the American Atheist group has put up some controversial billboards right in time for the holiday season. I think we've got one of the billboards right here. Yeah, as you can see, it's a little girl penning a letter to Santa. Dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is to skip church. I'm too old for fairy tales. Okay, so this billboard is now, right now, it's in Memphis and Nashville, obviously in Tennessee, St. Louis and Fort Smith, Arkansas. So they're going sort of right to the religious people. Now, things like this have been done before. You guys may remember they did something like this last year, or Atheists did something like this last year in Times Square. Certainly not as religious, let's say, as the Deep South. So I think this brings up a lot of interesting stuff. Oh, but we've got a quote from the group's president before we do that. Even children know churches spew absurdity, which is why they don't want to attend services. Enjoy the time with your family and friends instead. Today's adults have no obligation to pretend to believe the lies their parents believe. That's David Silverman, American Atheists president. Okay, I've been doing a lot about atheism on the show, and I'm for atheists. I think they get unfairly attacked in this country relentlessly, especially lately. But is this a good move by them? Like, are they doing a little too much here? Is this just going to wrangle up the religious?
Well, I think it's important that atheists get recognized and legitimized more, and it's probably good to have a billboard campaign, but I do feel this one is trying to poke a fight.
Right.
And it's just going to devolve into just aggression and not really understanding, which is what we need.
Right, which is sort of what we're seeing already, because now they're getting a big backlash online on this. I mean, I guess timing is everything, and they're purposely doing this right before the holidays. That's also the time when religious people obviously are feeling a little more religious.
A little bit more defensive, perhaps.
A little more defensive, yeah.
So I mean, I hate this particular ad campaign, because that girl is not too old for fairy tales, and she is wearing a Santa hat, and she should totally believe in Santa because Santa's great.
That's an interesting point. Can we throw the image up again? Let's look at the image one more time. That is a good point, because there is a certain age, right, that we all believe that children are allowed to believe in the tooth fairy or whatever it is. So that girl's probably what? What do we think she is? Maybe 5? Oh,
All kids, I can't tell how old kids are.
Let's say 8?
Sure.
So 8's borderline, right? I guess 8.
I don't think kids want to skip church because they're too old for fairy tales. I think they want to skip church because it's boring and they're kids.
Well, that I guess goes to the quote of David Silverman, who was saying, yeah, they're kids.
But I guess I just feel like atheists, being an atheist is the easiest thing you have to just not believe. So whenever you kind of spread the word of atheism, it always seems a little bit like counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, the atheists are going to be pissed at you though, because they're going to say it's a brave choice to not buy into.
I'm not saying it's not a brave choice. I'm saying that I don't know what the billboard actually accomplishes except for crushing the dreams of a child. And I don't mean the dreams of like Jesus Christ. I mean the dreams of like Santa. And
right.
No, she's writing to Santa.
Well, but like someone's whispering in her ear, Santa's not real.
Do the non-religious people in this country need to sort of band together? You know, every time we do an atheist story, I always say, you know, it's like we've got every group has, you know, they say, well, this many black people vote for this, and this many white people vote for this, and this many Latinos vote for this. If there's a whole bunch of non-religious / atheist people, if they had a voting block, wouldn't we do a lot of good in this country?
Probably, but you know, one of the things about religion is that it's a way to organize people and galvanize people into one specific movement, and it's a little bit harder this way, and I feel atheism is really misunderstood by many people.
Yeah.
Like
so
my grandma she would lose her mind if any of her grandchildren said, I'm an atheist.
Right, so there's no unifying force, I guess.
Isn't that kind of the point?
I guess that is the point.
Or should we get behind like an atheist leader, a godlike atheist leader?
Clearly.
That we could, get behind.
Right, but that I guess is the part of this that while I agree with the sentiment of what they're trying to do, that's the part of it that I think might be a little off-putting. Like in a weird way, they're sort of becoming, by doing something like a direct attack on this, they're just playing the same game that they claim that the religious people are playing, right? By sort of mocking someone's beliefs. So I don't know that it's sort of, there's some sort of Luke, Darth Vader thing here. You know what I mean? Be careful about what you become kind of thing. Are you with me? Something?
It reminds me of college when there were these like, and it started in high school, these straight edge kids who were like, no drinking, no smoking, no sex before marriage, very like clean cut. And I was like,
what happened to them?
Well, they all had sex
and did drugs. No, but I mean, like, it was one of those things where I was like, everyone knows these are options. Like, you don't have to assert yourself as not doing these things. You can just kind of exist in that way. And people who want to find it will find it. And people who want to turn away from religion will turn away from religion, especially as they get older and more educated and step away from it. When you proselytize in any way, I feel like it turns people off because it's exactly what you don't want to be doing. It's exactly what the opposite side is doing.
All right, I love this story. Willie Murphy is a 77-year-old grandmother, and you may have seen this viral video of her. She is a weightlifter, a power trainer, and she's just got a great spirit, and she's got some pretty kick-ass muscles. Let's take a look.
So I started the weight training. So little by little, I got stronger and stronger. So as the gun would go off, boom, I dust those ladies. That was 4 years ago. And since then, I have been a competitive power lifter. The audience would say, "Oh, that old lady, is she lifting?" And they say, "Ooh," and "ah." And guess what? My car got stuck. I'm pushing my car, which is a fabulous thing. Powerlifting. My grandchildren, I can lift them up without any problem. And the best of all, I don't need any help when I'm carrying my groceries. You see, that's what it's about. It's about life, L-I-F-E, life.
I mean, if you don't love that woman, I really don't know what to say to you. Everything about her, not only the physical stuff, but her empowerment, her self-empowerment, the sense of humor, just even the way she speaks. And yes, all about L-I-F-E, life, life, life. I just love it. When you see videos like that, do you think I could be that person, or do you think, oh shit, it's too late for me?
Listen, I haven't been to the gym in 3 months, but I love her.
You love her.
Maybe I should go to the gym now.
Maybe you need her as a trainer.
Yeah, I do.
She'd probably be a hell of a trainer.
I would listen, though. She seems wise.
And it's nice to get advice from a grandmother, don't you think?
Sure. I mean, I definitely think that grandma could kick my ass. I don't know to what end. When I see these stories, I'm always wondering, what does she know that we don't know? Like, why is she so buff at that age? What's coming?
I think she knows that it's time to lift your own stuff and pull your car and push your car.
When I'm that old, I plan on being very laid back. Like, even more so than I am now.
Yeah, because you're very high strung right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying I'm very active, and I want to be even less active as I get further along in life.
Yeah. Would you guys rather live a life of carelessness and freedom and whatever you want to call it, and drop dead at 80, or a more conservative life and get those last 20 years and go to the even 100?
I'm sort of balancing between the two, to be honest.
So you want 90? You want a little bit of fun?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Just lift a 45-pound weight.
Yeah, she's doing a lot more than that. What do you think?
Let's just assume that medical science will get us to a point where we cannot exercise and live to be 120 anyway. That's the dream, right?
That is that you.
I don't want to be a 76-year-old weightlifter.
Right. You just want to take a pill.
Yeah.
That'll get you there. What I was thinking when I was watching this, though, is that we're so quick to dismiss and mock old people in society all the time, right? We see this all the time. People, someone old on television, I mean, people get phased out of television all the time, where we should be learning from old people. They've been around the block more than us, right? Why are we so quick to dismiss old people?
I don't think I'm the right person to ask, because
you dismiss old people.
I feel sad for when people are mean to old people and the elderly and disrespectful, and I don't think we should be that way.
Yeah. Why do you think we are, though?
Because we're assholes. I don't know.
Just fundamentally humans. Why do we?
Well,
dismiss
they also tend to have a lot more old-fashioned views. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. So it can be frustrating to argue or debate with an old person about many issues that kind of we see as common sense that they see as being completely backwards.
Right. Although I think a lot of that's even changing. We did a thing last week about those 3 grandmas that took bong hits. I don't know if you guys saw the viral video on that, which was pretty great. There's plenty of videos out there about older people that are now completely okay with gay marriage and all that. So I guess that's the beauty of the internet. Maybe it's speeding things up a little bit. Fair to say.
My grandparents are okay with gay marriage, and they're okay with a lot of things that I thought they wouldn't be because they're over 90.
Yeah, but are they deadlifting like Willie?
No.
They should,
though.
They should? And yours?
They're all dead. But I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't give them a chance. Certainly give everyone a chance to kind of evolve with their views.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the kind of discomfort that we get with another generation is that we feel like they're kind of removed from what we understand as like being our society now versus what they kind of appreciate to be theirs.
There you go. All right, let's talk about poo. You know, we did the story last week about the bus in the UK that is being powered by who? Let's start over.
Sorry.
That's right.
I messed it up.
That's okay. All right, let's talk about poo. You know, we did the story last week about the bus in the UK that's being powered by...
I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't give them a chance. Certainly give everyone a chance to kind of evolve with their views.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the kind of discomfort that we get with another generation is that we feel like they're kind of removed from what we understand as like being our society now versus what they kind of appreciate to be theirs.
All right, let's talk about poo. You know, we did the story last week about the bus in the UK that's being powered by human poo, and then we came up with another poo story this week. This is wild. There is a new product called Poo-Pourri, and they're pushing this towards women who don't want their poo to smell, but don't take my word for it. We've got a bit of the ad right here.
Simply spritz Poo-Pourri in the bowl to create a film on the water's surface that actually traps the odours in their porcelain prison. And when your little astronauts splash down and make contact with the film, they release Poo-Pourri's pleasant aromas, so all those around you can smell as a refreshing bouquet of essential oils. Yes, it is a real product. And yes, it really works.
Yeah, so if you aren't 100% clear, it's not just an air freshener that you're going to be spraying around once you poo. You're actually locking the poo smell down in the toilet, and they're marketing this towards women. So Kim, I have to go to you first. Would you like Poo-Pourri?
Why is it marketed to women? Men have smelly poo.
But I think women fear the poo smell more than men.
So
or at least that's, I think, what they think.
I'm supposed to carry the spray around for the rest of my life because I'm so embarrassed of poop?
Well, girls have pocketbooks, and guys don't.
I'm not carrying around poo spray in my purse for the rest of my life. I'll tell you that.
I am. I have no problem with that. If it works, I'll carry it around.
Why are we so afraid of human things? When we did the story on the poop bus last week, I mean, it's a great idea, right? We're taking our waste and turning it into something so that we can get off oil, blah, blah, blah. And there were a lot of people in the comments saying, this is gross, it's disgusting.
Well, it's a health hazard. It's a biohazard, isn't it? To just put poop everywhere?
Okay,
There's a lot of bacteria in there, Dave.
But there is
So the
something-
poop bus is slightly different than locking down the poop smell.
Yeah, this is
so
different.
all right, forget the bus then. But for this particular thing, why are we so afraid of our bodily? Everything we do is to hide our bodily functions, and what's the deal?
Well, no one likes bad smells.
No, it's
That's
just
valid. You definitely could look at why we're afraid of our own bodies and why we're afraid of our waste. But on a practical level, I feel like a product like this is not about shame. It's about just kind of carrying yourself in a nicer smelling way.
right. I guess we've all been to like a fancy party where you have to go. Sometimes you gotta go, and then you go, somebody's coming in the bathroom right after me, and if you had your little poop spray, wouldn't you want the poop spray at that point? Because otherwise, you have to say when the guy walks out, or you walk out, and the guy, it was before me.
I don't defecate, but if I did, I imagine that I would really enjoy a product like this. But I do feel like there is this discomfort. I mean, there was this story recently about fecal transplants and how there's a lot of advances in medicine that way, but there's a lot of discomfort with the idea of taking a pill with poop in it.
Yeah.
But if we just kind of got past that, we could do a lot of good.
So just to be 100% clear on what Louis is talking about there, we have Cara Santa Maria on next week, who cleans up a lot of my science mess. But basically, they're literally transplanting other people's poo into other people to sort of get the bacteria, the good bacteria from the original person into the new. I think you did a segment on this on Nerd Alert, didn't you?
Yes.
So poo has some merit.
Yes, but it's not just any poo. It has to be,
from a donor
work with the biome of that person's body, and there's a lot of checking. This is not to be done without doctor supervision.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
But to your point, people sort of fear the idea of this. Like, it just sounds so gross, and there are plenty of doctors who have said, well, the reason we can't really get this thing going is because just talking about poop makes people uncomfortable.
But if it smelled better,
maybe
we'd have an easier time with it.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. So the Poo-Pourri people need to get in on it with the poo transplant people. This is a shitty topic, I'll tell you.
And the poo marketing team.
And the poo marketing people. All right, final thought on this. Do you think maybe we're missing something here? I mean, think about, I walk my dog every day. Dogs are sniffing each other's butts. They're pooping all over the place. Cats pee all over so that they can get back home if they go anywhere. So are we losing something that's very natural humans? You know what I mean? We put ourselves in big houses, and we're just separating ourselves from Earth.
Humans are disgusting. We are leaking out fluids, sebum, cysts. We are just bags of disgusting liquids, and I think we don't like to think about it because we like to transcend maybe that level of being gross and also being mortal. I don't know, maybe it's very poetic.
Yeah.
But we're gross. We're all gross inside together.
We are gross, horribly disgusting things. And on that note, let's move on. All right, so this is pretty cool. Tommy Hilfiger is coming out with solar-powered jackets. Yeah, that's right. We've got a picture of the solar-powered jackets. And why would you wear a solar-powered jacket? First off, I actually think that looks decently cool. Are you guys
Okay,
on board
girl-
that part with me so far before I say why you would wear it?
The girl looks like a TARDIS. It's cool.
What about the guy? Louis, give me some guy
I
fashion
think
there.
that is the ugliest thing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah?
I think that they're disgusting.
If you made that if it was black, if it was just black and you had some of those solar power things, it would be kind of
If you
futuristic.
took that off and put a different jacket on, it would be great.
Yeah, all right, you just don't like that style
I don't
jacket.
like the plaid and
No,
the
it's
green thing on
horrible.
top.
All right, let's not get hung up on the fashion too much. I'll tell you a little bit more about what they're doing. So they have jackets, obviously, for both men and women, and they generate energy on the go so that you can power your iPhone and other devices. They feature flexible solar panels on the back that can generate enough power to recharge a standard smartphone up to 4 times. They also have 2 USB ports. Kim, you're going to have to give me some ideas on what we can do with that. And 50% of the proceeds of the jacket are donated to the Fresh Air Fund, who help New York City kids experience being in the outdoors. How much would you pay for that jacket? $599 retail. You know, if they Black Friday this thing, we're looking around $450, I think. But we're already past Black Friday, so I guess not. I think this is pretty cool. Look, we're all carrying around the phones, right? Starbucks is now going to do this thing with wireless charging at all their tables. That's supposed to be coming next year. We're all running out of power constantly. Think about our batteries have drained while we've been sitting here. So this is pretty cool.
This would be super useful at a convention like Comic-Con or something where it's super sunny and my phone is dying all the time and I need it for Instagram. I need it.
Wait, I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic. Is it
No.
sunny in Comic-Con? Isn't it in a giant
a lot of it is
thing?
outside
Oh.
because it's taken over San Diego. So I would be able to, I'll go do this obstacle course and also charge my phone.
also
But wearable tech is, I like it. I'm a fan, but
Yeah.
that's very expensive.
That's the price point. All right, so let's not get hung up on the price point. So you're forgetting the price point and forgetting the fashionability of it. Is that a word, fashionability?
Sure.
Are you down with this idea? It's pretty cool,
I
right?
mean, yeah, in theory, it's great, but I feel like you can't forget the price and the fashion of it because
Right.
wearable tech is definitely the future, but we have to kind of make strides in terms of what we want to actually wear and what we can afford to wear. So
Right.
if it's not going to be something that everyone can pick up and put on without feeling silly, it's not going to really matter.
Right. So isn't that just part of just how business goes? Like even this for Black Friday, I kept seeing these literally like 40 or 50-inch TVs that were $200 or $250. I bought my first plasma, whatever it was, like 6 years ago. It was $2,400. So don't we sort of need? Isn't that just how business works? That we need some of these expensive things to start it, and then eventually the cheap
So
guys.
It's always going to be more expensive and bulkier at first. That's why I'm usually not an early adopter. So yeah, wait a few years and maybe it'll be $100.
So if you power your phone with this thing, what are you doing with those 2 other USB ports?
Charging your iPad.
So you got your iPad, your phone.
You could
I
also.
don't think I want to walk around with every device attached to my jacket.
Why not?
That's starting to see. By the way, this was making me think, we did so many stories probably about a year ago about Google Glass and everyone was going to be wearing it. I've literally, here in LA, which is a pretty early adopter place, right? I've literally only seen one guy wearing Google Glass. And he's this guy in West Hollywood who wears Google Glass all the time. And he also rides a, that scooter thing. That
Segway?
Yeah, and he rides a Segway.
Because it looks ridiculous. Because those
Yeah,
things
so
look
that's to your
ridiculous.
point.
I
It's
mean,
just-
it could have been. I mean, if Google Glass looked like something people would actually wear, I feel like it would have gone a lot farther.
Yeah.
And if it were more affordable.
Yeah. Do you think there's some hesitancy to go this route of wearing all this stuff? Like, we're so inundated with technology all the time that I do think part of us, it's like,
Well, it's also, wearable tech it's cool. I think it's useful, but it hasn't really caught on as much as it should have or projected to have by now. A lot of it is maybe it's fashion related. I mean, things take a while to catch on. You feel weird feeling like I'm the only one who looks like this. It's going to take a while to cotton on, I think.
now, Louis, if they took that lovely sweater you're wearing right now and put some solar panels on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not against that.
You're not against that.
But here's the problem.
Yes.
Why would I be wearing the sweater if it were really sunny outside?
You could still get some rays.
That's a good point. These things are jackets, and
Yeah.
I assume you get less. So I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine if you're somewhere that you need a jacket, that the sun is probably less strong for the solar panels.
You would still get something.
You'd get something. You'd
Yeah.
get a little juice, and you don't need a ton of power to power the iPhone.
Okay.
That's my completely unscientific.
I just mean
not-
like, what about like a hat with solar panels on it?
Oh, that's more like. I feel like Michael J. Fox wore that maybe in Back to the Future too.
He might have.
Possibly. I'm sort of maybe.
It powered the hoverboard.
Yeah, exactly. That's how hoverboards will be powered in the future. Okay, we got one more for you. This is sort of interesting. The Coca-Cola company, they are going to come out with milk. That's right. They're coming out with something called Fairlife, and we've got some more info for you. Fairlife will be more nutritious with 50% more natural protein, high calcium, low sugar form, and sold at twice the price of a normal pint. According to Coca-Cola's North American chief, the milk tastes better than regular milk and is made on 92 family-owned sustainable dairy farms with high care processes and proprietary milk filtering process. All right, so this basically sounds good, right? Coke, the big guys coming in, maybe helping some of these family-owned farms, sustainable, a lot of good buzzwords in there. Call me a skeptic. I have a sense that somehow this is going to be evil when Coke gets involved in milk.
Evil milk.
What do you think?
Do you think they're going to make the wholesome image unwholesome?
I think it's quite possible, much like when in The Simpsons, the mafia got involved in selling milk to the schools, and what did they do?
Milk.
And it was rat milk. So most of what I know is
were brittle.
exactly.
I would drink rat milk. But
Millhouse
that's not-
drank that
That's
milk.
not the point.
But that's not the point here, yeah.
I'm just feeling really like a horrible sheep because like as soon as they said it was more expensive, I was like, I want that milk. So clearly it's working on me, and I'm the problem.
And it's not even out yet. No, but really, can we trust these big companies? Part of me says we can't trust big companies to get involved in any of this stuff. And then there's another part of me that, I watched Food Inc. a couple months ago, and they talked about how Stonyfield Farms was this tiny little family-owned whatever, and then I think it was Walmart got involved with them, and then they took the same practices that they had and they just made it at a bigger scale. So as part of this, you fear the big companies, but sometimes maybe not so bad.
It's hard for me to get past the fact that this is milk and I hate milk.
So you just don't like milk. This is
Yeah.
a dairy issue for you. What do you think in terms of a big company?
I think best case scenario, sure, the big companies take over and let them keep their sustainable practices, but I feel like that's probably not the norm. I think that story was about Walmart was probably told because it was like outside of what normally happens.
Right, because we know
It was
that
an anomaly and it was exciting that way.
Right, much like how Walmart has that commercial where they have this pop-up fruit stand and they show you how fresh all their fruit is, but meanwhile they don't tell you about the 10 or 20 growers that they probably put out of business that are
Right.
down the block. But is that what we need to get healthy food going a little bit more? To me, going to Trader Joe's where I can get some organic stuff. Trader Joe's is not a huge company, but they made it sort of accessible to someone like me. So we do need that kind of, right?
Sure. Well, it's also a different take on what is healthy. This is it's more nutritious, but why is it more nutritious? Are you adding things? Is it because then we have the organic route, and that's totally different, which is we're not adding all these things.
Yeah. All right, well, just to show you a little bit about how big business gets in on some of this stuff, there, of course, is a ad campaign. All right, there you go. I mean, she's wearing milk. You see what they're doing there? Drink
One of
what
them
she's
is actually
wearing.
squirting milk.
That's a
Just to
callback.
bring it back to the porn thing.
That's a callback to an earlier segment. We'll annotate to it right there so you know what we're talking about. So sexy. You don't really think of sexy women with milk, but...
Milk is disgusting.
I feel like you actually do. I feel like we already kind of established
we
that
already
milk is
have that
sexy.
because of the mustache. The
Right.
mustache thing. So you associate sexiness with milk.
I don't personally associate sexy with milk, but I don't think that they're the first to make that association.
Yeah.
I think that milk has long been sexy.
Milk is a sexy beverage. I think of lemonade maybe or pink lemonade.
Lemonade doesn't come from breasts the way that milk does.
Yeah, but lemonade, that's sexier to me.
All right.
Citrus is sexy.
Whatever makes you happy.
Citrus is sexy. How much of this stuff are you on board in general? Just sort of the healthier route. Let's say forget the conspiracy theories about Coke and whatever they're going to do. Let's say this thing is good and it does provide what they claim it's going to provide. How much for you guys are you on board? I'm doing the grass-fed butter thing. Are you on any of that kind of stuff?
I don't.
Lewis's smirk already implied that he's not on the grass-fed
Well, no,
butter.
I mean, I'm on whatever is affordable.
Yeah.
And if this milk costs twice as much, I'm not going to buy the milk that costs twice as much.
Right. And
Even
I think
though
that's probably where most people fall with these things.
And I think that if the grass-fed butter costs twice as much, that's not going to happen either.
30%.
Okay.
Well, if it's responsible farming, sure. But if it's we're injecting this new Coke brand vitamin into the thing.
Yeah, what they don't tell you is that they're injecting the cows, obviously, with Coca-Cola. So
Is the
there
milk
you go.
carbonated?
It is not carbonated, but oh God, we're going to have carbonated milk. It's all just terrible. On that note, I want to thank Kim and Louis. Their Twitters are right down below. Don't forget to comment on all this stuff. Subscribe. What else do people do on the YouTube?
They go to youtube.com/nerdalert.
You go to youtube.com/nerdalert. Lewis's stuff is all down there too. And comment again and all that good stuff. And okay, we will see you next week.